Yeah. This is what people don't understand, right? People don't understand anything. Google Maps is not just Google
Mhm.
Maps. Google Maps is going to become a 3D footprint for how you can explore the world. Eventually, right now it's semi
It's getting.
two, yeah, right now it's semi two-dimensional where you can walk down the street. You fast forward 10, 15 years, it'll be full three-dimensional and you'll be able to go into the buildings. It's madness. And it's here. This technology is here, right? And this is the newest version of this technology that the public can get. And so every now and then I'm like, okay, I have to have something which is the newest of the new. And
Mhm.
because you know what technology is like. If you don't keep up to date with it, you can just you're
Yes, and then it's so hard to actually jump back on.
yeah, you like new phone versus old phone. I'm like, you just you're throwing away the old phone because like the new phone just does everything 10 times faster and 10 times more things than the old phone. So it's wildly crazy. And and so this and then of course because I'm me, um,
Mhm.
what I did was I hacked it because I get bored very easily. So
Good job.
I'm like after 24 after like 48 hours with this thing, and right, I get what it can do. I wonder what else it can do. So I'm like on the internet going, how do you hack this? And people have created all their little own independent programs, and you can take other people's independent programs and put them into this virtual world so you can step into other people's worlds. It's so mind blowing. It's so, and at the same time, okay, it's wild. So to give you an example of
Mhm.
this, and there's like warnings like be careful with kids and stuff in the technology. I'm like, yeah, okay, I get it, but this technology is the future. So
Mhm.
if you're not ready for it, then you lose out, right? You're missing opportunities. And and so here's the other thing. Like every school could be using this, but they're not
They're not.
because they're never going to use it because they're so far behind. Anyway, so um, so this is one of the cool things. They've got this thing called Google Tilt Brush, and what this is virtual 3D art. So what you do is you put on the headset, and it puts you in a world where you have unlimited resources for creating your own art. And so you can create a picture, but you can step around it and walk through it
Oh.
and make it bigger and smaller. And you can just like I could like draw a cup, and then I could turn the cup. I could walk around the cup and go under the cup, and I could make the cup bigger and smaller and add other things to it. And it's wild. And I put the headset on my daughter and gave her the hand controls, and I put her into this 3D art world where she could
Mhm.
make stuff, and it took her about 30 seconds to understand it all. She's just like, oh, okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
My daughter in 30, basically in
Seconds.
30, 30 seconds, understands it and intuitively is creating 3D works of art that you can, like she built a fire and makes, and it's got all that, you can actually create fire within it and smoke, and it's, it's mind blowing, absolutely mind blowing. And then you
How
compare,
about the
sorry?
how about the older ones, older
Oh, they're
children?
they're 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 the same with it as well. And for them, it's like, oh, look at this, you can do this, and for us, it's like we never imagined that we could step into another world and not just be in another world, but create the world
Real.
and then walk around in that world. It's just mind blowing because it gives you the opportunity to have a completely different perspective on things. I think about if you're a designer making a car, like
Mm-hmm.
before you had to like build a physical model. Now you can just draw the 3D thing and walk around it and open it up and look inside it, and this technology is now available to everybody. It's mind blowing. It's available to everybody. Um, so there's that, and they've obviously got some like they obviously got their games, right? So they got their like Star Wars games where you can hold your lightsaber and you can actually fight battles with, and it's well, boy's dream, right? Boy's dream. You know, every boy wanted to fight Darth
The
Vader
real
with
thing.
with a
Yeah.
real lightsaber. It's
With the sound.
yeah, and everywhere you look, it's there around you. Everywhere you look down at your feet or look up, everywhere you look, it's there around you. Uh, it's crazy. And there's also like I hacked it and put these developer programs on, and so these are like not perfect games, but things that are in production. And there's a game that it scans your room and
Mm-hmm.
creates a puzzle for you, like a maze, like a maze puzzle where you got to go round corners and under things and over things, but
Mm-hmm.
you never leave the room because it the algorithm program creates a an endless maze and an endless path for you. So you can just walk around your room endlessly solving problems, but and never go anywhere. And it's like, okay, you can say it's bad because you never go anywhere, but I'm like, no, you've got a complete puzzle within your room. So you turn what is an empty room into an amazing journey and experience. And it's
Mm.
crazy. And so I was doing this puzzle game yesterday, and these things fly, these like creatures, they fly up to you and they hover around your head, and you're just like, whoa. And then things come towards you. Things come towards you, and you're like, whoa, and they go past you, and you watch them go past. Holy, holy shit. This is putting
Yeah.
you in the middle of the film.
Mm-hmm.
It's putting,
Mm-hmm.
and what people have done is what I tried yesterday was the people took the 80s computer games now, and they put you in the middle of the 80s computer games, and it's everybody, all the boys, all the boys wanted to actually be like in the game and be the character, and now you can actually just enter the game and be the character in the game. It's wild. So, um, anyway, I just wanted to share the fact that this technology is quite stunning, and um, I think that for those who experiment with it, they will see the amazing possibilities. Where obviously it's advertised as just for games, but if you think about it from creative
Mm.
side of things and the art side of things, which is how I look at it for my kids, yeah, or even problem solving, like three-dimensional problems that you have to solve. So I'll tell you about one more little game that's really cool. So um, there's a game where you have a bomb and you have to defuse the bomb by 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 stopping the bomb from exploding by solving puzzles. But
Is it
the
a game, old game?
well,
No, solving puzzles.
it's a puzzle game, but it's a two-player game where your partner has their mobile phone, and on the mobile phone are the instructions how to defuse the bomb. So you're in the virtual world, but you've got to listen to your partner giving you the instructions. You've got to describe to them what you see, right?
Ah,
So think about communications skills, right?
oh,
You have to describe to them what you can see. I'm like, oh, okay, I've got a briefcase and there's 6 components and there's 5 wires at the top on the left, and the person's got the instruction manual and they're like, okay, 4 wires. They go to the wire section. Okay, how many green wires? How many red wires? And they give you the instructions about wire to cut, and you've got this timer ticking down from 3 minutes, and you've got 3 minutes to defuse the bomb, otherwise you die, right? And just that in terms of human communication as an activity, because like if you say to people talk to each other, they don't talk, right? You need
Give
stimulus.
them a game, yes,
Yeah,
something.
give them a challenge, right? Or put them in an environment where there are naturally challenges. Take the kids to the forest and they climb the trees. Tell them to climb the trees and they don't. But you take them to the forest and they'll climb the trees by themselves. Yeah. So, and
Here is a tree, climb up. I was like, no.
yeah. Or
You just don't know what's happening.
oh yeah, we don't know what's happening. It's we make almost every decision that we make is based on incomplete information. And we have to live with that and be comfortable with that. We never have all the details, and that's why we need to correct our direction. Right? Because when we get new information, we have to update and upgrade and keep things moving. Like it's like the pilot of a plane or the pilot of a boat or something. You point the boat in the right direction, but you still need to correct every now and then to keep things on course. We need the course correction. So yeah, and we're constantly influenced by the people who are around about us, and I think we're influenced much more than we realize, because I think a lot of the time we set our limits based on the people who are around about us. So they'll like this, they won't like that, or they do this or they won't do that. And I think that that's a constant mistake we make as people, because we should never allow other people's limitations to be our own limitations. And that's what happens a lot of the time. The same way we get influenced by people's likes and dislikes. So anyway, the point I wanted to make about the VR stuff, which is which for me is mind blowing, because it's just endless. You can in the art program you can like design clothes. Yeah, so it's got like the model, and you can design the clothes on the model and turn it around and experiment and do things. It's great for designers and people who want to be creative. So I told you, like I got bored and I hacked the headset, and I wanted to find out what more it can do, which is kind of a dangerous thing. You shouldn't hack stuff too much because it stops working, right? And that's the way. Well, well, it's like how can I just anyway? I'll just move forward, right? So I go online and I'm reading different discussion forums about different things that you can do and what's possible and what's not possible. And there are people writing that that people who hack the technology are criminals, because they think that hacking, for some reason their experience tells them they think that hacking is bad. But the only way to understand things is to hack them, or to understand that it's very often not developers that develop things. Developers get the credit for developing things, but the reason why the number one virtual reality game is Beat Saber, which is I don't know if you've seen it. You've got these two swords, and these blocks come towards you, and you have to hit them in time with the music. It's a really fun game, really fun to do, and people are. And the reason why it's so big is that people hacked it and changed it and made it better. And people are online arguing about how bad it is to hack. But the reason why everything is so good is because people can customize things. Because when you make it yours, it's different. And anybody who's worked in marketing knows that the thing that sells people the most, usually at the end of the day, is this belief that this thing is unique to them.
Them.
Yeah. There's this terminology now in marketing called bespoke. And bespoke means specifically designed for the customer. So you can have bespoke jewelry, for example, specifically designed for one person. But you can also have a bespoke home, a home that where the architect and the people who want the house, they talk about the design and how they want the house to look. And this is the future for a lot of businesses and marketing, because people, what sells to people is what people think belongs to them, their
Mm-hmm.
ownership of something, the personal computer, right? Which was never really personal, but it's how it was sold to people. And this ability to take something and manipulate it or change it to see what will happen, maybe make it better, maybe make it worse, whatever, but you have to have the ability to experiment, is what creates a lot of the development in technology and throughout society. And there's people online arguing that these people are criminals. And what they're doing is they're arguing for the end of their own society. They're arguing
Mm-hmm.
for the end of their own society because there'll be no development if they get what they want.
The one.
They won't, because and they are, it's delusional. It's insane, but it's normal for them to argue this. And so people don't understand. They live in a world where they believe that everything is exactly what they're told it is. And
Mm-hmm.
we have to be more thoughtful than that. We have to realize that, as we already talked about, there's good and bad in everything. And we it's crazy because we have to leave people to make decisions for themselves, but that means that we have to also be comfortable with knowing that they're wrong and not doing anything about it. How crazy is that? Because if you want to correct everyone and everything, that's not a good place to be either. Or controlling people's speech through political correctness or hate speech. It's just another example. Oh, can't say that. That's hate speech. But as we already discussed, hate is the 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 counter side to love in a holistic universe. And once you ban hate, you also ban love at the same time, because they're so intertwined together that to ban hate is to ban love, because one person's love is another person's hate, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you start banning hate, you end up the end point of banning hate is removing everything that people love. That's where it's going. That's what happens at the end of the day, because inevitably what you hate somebody else will love. And when you start banning another person's love, then there's nowhere to go from there, because that gives them the rights to ban your love, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Yeah, and we always tend to think that we're always going to have. I don't know, people who have some level of control over things tend to think that they're always going to have some level of control, and that's not true, because it changes and moves and ebbs and flows and meanders through life.